I've lived both extremes, meat only and high-carb plant-based, and what I've learned is the truth isn't hiding at either end. Carnivore taught me discipline. This rice-based way of eating taught me calm. For years I thought discipline was peace. If I could just eat cleaner, smarter, stricter, I'd finally fix everything. Turns out I was just chasing control and calling it health. I used to be that guy, the only meat guy. Everything I ate had to be animal-based or it didn't count. Fat was fuel, meat was medicine, and plants were the enemy. At first it worked, and my digestion was smooth, my brain was sharp, and I won't lie, the simplicity was addictive. You always know what to eat, there's no choices, no chaos. But somewhere along the way, it stopped being a diet, and it turned into a belief system. I'd watch people eat fruits and vegetables and think, there's no nutrition in that. They're going to get sick, or they're poisoning themselves.
Huh?
Seriously, those ridiculous thoughts ran through my head. I'd lecture friends and family about how humans have always eaten meat and fruit is genetically modified garbage. And most people couldn't care less. They just live their normal lives, eating their normal breakfasts, high-carb dinners, and somehow they don't drop dead from eating an apple. The truth is, nobody cares about diet ideology as much as people trying to preach it. For a long time, I thought I was thriving, and then blood work and an MRI scan finally called my bluff. Fatty liver, thyroid hormones tanked, iron through the roof. My system was falling apart while I was bragging about eating clean. People tell me, you didn't do carnivore right, you didn't eat enough fat. Well, I did high-fat carnivore. Over the years, I tried it every way you can imagine. And now I don't know about you, but eating a greasy, oily, high-fat meal makes me sick. Not a bit off, but nose to tail sick. I'm talking like 90% fat, 10% protein. Animals stop eating when food doesn't feel right. And that's called intuitive eating. As humans, are we supposed to just ignore that primal instinct? I don't think so. It just blows my mind that's the way some people think. I wasn't chasing purity points, I just wanted to feel alive again. And some others might say, you ate fruit, that's why your liver failed. Sure, it couldn't possibly be the pounds of red meat and butter I ate every day. No, it was definitely the punnet of berries I ate once a month. So anyway, I needed a way to lower my heme iron naturally, something sustainable, gentle and low fat for the reasons I just mentioned. Then I started watching Dr. John McDougall's videos on the starch solution, and it didn't take long before I was sold on the low fat, high starch approach. Basically a high carb plant-based diet. After years of fearing starchy carbs, for the first time I cooked a pot of rice, I felt like I was crossing enemy lines. I just stood there waiting for disaster, weight gain and bloating and fatigue, but it never really came. Of course, it didn't happen overnight, but what did come was a relief. My energy stopped swinging like a pendulum, my sleep deepened and my digestion quieted. It felt like my body exhaled for the first time in years. This wasn't some miracle cleanse, it was just my system refilling glycogen and stabilising after nearly a decade of deprivation. Sometimes hunger isn't greed, it's your body begging for balance. Now I keep it simple. Rice, fruit juice, vegetables, very low fat. Call it boring, but boring works. And honestly, for once, it actually feels sane. Carnivore taught me discipline, what laser focus feels like, but it also taught me how fast focus can turn into fixation. The high-carb plant-based diet taught me patience. It's slower, softer, and way more forgiving. It doesn't punish you for being human. On Carnivore I felt sharp, but tense, like a coiled spring. On High-Carb I feel steady, softer, calm. There's less fire and more flow. Now, obviously my mindset is completely different now, after dealing with recent health issues, but so I see food through a whole different lens. People still tell me that carbs are nutrient dense. Sure, maybe not compared to liver, but they're sanity dense. And sometimes that's the nutrient that you're missing the most. And honestly, after years of nutrient dense animal eating, I think I've built up more than enough storage to survive a high carb, low fat lifestyle. The debates never stop. Carbs versus fat, ancestral versus modern. Who has the cleaner blood work? But living both sides taught me that most of it is just noise. When someone says our ancestors didn't eat rice, I just nod. Our ancestors also didn't sit in traffic for an hour. They also didn't scroll their phones until midnight, just before going to sleep. Different times, different problems, different solutions. Your body isn't something to conquer, it's something to cooperate with. If you spend years treating it like a machine to dominate, it will remind you who's in charge. Mine did, through blood tests, fatigue, and a liver that finally said, enough. High fat gave me control. High carb gave me calm. Both gave me humility. I don't care about belonging to a tribe anymore. Not that I was ever really in one to begin with. I just care about how I feel when I wake up. Right now, I'm high carb plant-based, and that's where I'm thriving. That might change one day, and I'm sure it will. But when it does, it will be out of curiosity, not fear. After everything I've lived through, and after seeing what's worked for friends, family, and people online, the pattern's hard to ignore. It was never about macros. It was about consistency. As long as you're in a calorie deficit and eating real quality food, it doesn't matter if you're high fat or high carb. Everyone who sticks to the deficit loses the same weight. It's not the carbs or the fat that wreck us, it's the junk. The ultra-processed stuff, the seed oils, the sugar and fat combo that's engineered to make you overeat. Stop running around chasing carnivore, vegan, fasting, or some magic fix. Eat whole foods, move your body, keep calories reasonable, and that's about it. Obviously there's a lot more to it than that, but the message is simple. You'll lose weight, feel better, and actually keep it off. I also used to think there was one perfect diet, but people lose weight and heal on both sides of the spectrum. It was never about macronutrient ratios, it was about showing up every day. Keto, low fat, starch-based, none of them are magic. They're just different ways to do the same boring thing. Eat less than you burn. Everybody wants a shortcut, but a data says the same thing every time. The boring, balanced approach wins. A calorie deficit beats macronutrient ratios every time. Food quality and consistency matter more than whatever label you give your diet. Turns out it's not carnivore versus carbs, it's just calories and consistency. Deficit and discipline always outperform diet dogma. So yeah, I've lived both extremes. I've chased perfection and found something better. Stability. And if there's one lesson I'd pass on, it's this. The truth isn't at either end. It sits quietly in the middle, where balance meets discipline and food finally becomes just food again. Maybe real health isn't about getting back to our primal roots. Maybe it's about finally getting back to balance. I'll see you in the next one.